Hi everybody, it's Tracy Lewin here and
Peter Murray, coming straight from Crypto Valley and
Dubai.
how are you, Tracy?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Peter?
Everything is going very, very well. It's been an exciting week in the crypto markets. So I'm loving. I would love to hear what we are going to discuss today and get right into it.
Absolutely, we'll do exactly that. Yes, it's been an exciting week. And, at the end of the day, because we're involved in Bitcoin, Bitcoin is just, as far as I'm concerned, the most exciting thing the most exciting invention on this earth today. That's what I truly
After,
believe.
after sliced bread.
Yeah, after sliced bread. What you see over here is a whole bunch of headlines, and these headlines, what we do is we actually post in our Facebook page every single day. There are some news items there. So if whoever's watching, can you please have a look at our Facebook page, Bit Media, because there's a lot of interesting articles, and basically what we're trying to do here is keep everybody abreast of the week that was, new stuff that's happening, because as you know, it's quite it's a dynamic subject, and there's a lot of interest in Bitcoin at the moment. So, and certainly for the future as well. Okay, so the first headline: African banks jump into fintech startups and Bitcoin to ride the prevailing headwinds. Um, that was quite an interesting article, Peter. Did you read that?
I did, and it's just a culmination of the whole story of the banks jumping into this. But I think in Africa specifically, people are looking at the huge unbanked market and thinking of ways to to provide cheap banking services to them. So the banks are all looking at creating technologies to jump onto this a freight train that is really running now in blockchain technology.
Well, they seem to think that Africa is going to be a huge adopter of Bitcoin and the technology around it. So certainly a place to watch. And I think in terms of business in Africa, there are massive opportunities. So yeah.
Well, there are billions of people in the world without a bank account. But let me tell you what, Tracy, I mean, I've been visiting with some of the Swiss private banks and investment banks here in Zurich and in Zug since June last year. And I can tell you that almost every single bank has set up a cryptocurrency desk or team where they are looking at trading cryptocurrencies, buying cryptocurrencies, but most importantly, investing into cryptocurrency businesses and also looking at starting some business units of their own.
Yes.
All the big banks are involved and the Swiss private banks are involved. So people with money are looking at this. So that is important, very, very important development for the underlying demand of Bitcoin.
Well, there's a prediction that 10 billion US dollars will be invested in blockchain projects in 2016. So, that's a hang of a lot of money. And in fact, last week we spoke about Dubai. I mean, they are investing huge amounts of money and in blockchain as well. And in fact, I'm going to go and see the Museum of the Future very soon. And let's see what I can find out there. But there's a lot of money
Well,
that's being,
you need to make a video of that in future.
yeah, I definitely will.
Show us the pictures.
Japan considers regulating Bitcoin as currency. There's a lot of discussion at the moment whether it's a commodity, whether it's a currency, and here's Japan thinking about it.
Well, the thing is, the great thing about this is, and a lot of people are scared about, some type of regulations coming to Bitcoin and whatever. But what people don't realize is the more governments start to get involved in this market and start looking at it as a, and, they start to look at it as a currency or to give it some type of regulation, the more legitimacy it gives to Bitcoin, and the more valuable your Bitcoin holdings will get if you're a holder of Bitcoins. So
Yes,
this will provide underlying demand. But also, I listened to a very interesting discussion earlier this week between people that said what could happen to the Bitcoin demand if governments start treating it as a reserve currency, because if the Bank of Japan decides to say that Bitcoin is a currency, that would also mean that they can actually then accumulate reserves in that currency. In other words, they can actually purchase Bitcoins and hold it, which means you've got the biggest buyer of one of the biggest buyers of government bonds in the world is the Central Bank of Japan, of US government bonds. So if they start buying Bitcoins, it could be massive, and then other governments will follow.
absolutely. I mean, honestly, if I was a government, I'd be buying some Bitcoin, that's for sure, and stashing it away.
But you can't buy it unless you have it as an official reserve. And I think that is why this announcement and to see what's going to happen with this is so important.
Yes, I understand. Okay, now, we all know that the Bitcoin price is very, very volatile. And this week, the Bitcoin price passed the $420 mark amid institutional attention. So, yeah, the Bitcoin price is going to keep rising. I mean, the trend is upward.
Yes, I'm 100% sure of it. Talking about institutional demand, I read this. There's quite a few new Bitcoin funds, traditional fund structures that are being put up that are going to buy and hold Bitcoins, which means that's taking more Bitcoins out of the market into just a holding pattern. Which means, once your hedge fund and your big fund managers get involved, there are billions and billions of dollars in cash out there that are looking for a home. And if Bitcoin can be one of these homes, this
Mm.
price will go galactic.
That's what we like to hear because we are holders of Bitcoin and we want some more too.
I'm in Bitcoin boots and all.
Okay, this was something that you actually looked into. Ripple distributed ledger tech can save banks 42% on payments. I mean, we know that Bitcoin, in terms of cost saving and time saving, that all relates to money, a cost of money, and a cost.
Yeah, yeah. Ripple is a very interesting. I actually downloaded the Ripple client onto my computer last weekend and played around with it a little bit. And what a bank can do is a bank can actually set up a different uh, uh, Ripple accounts. Say a bank has two branches, say one in Africa and one in the US, and they set up two Ripple accounts. They can transfer, they make transfers between those accounts by using the Ripple infrastructure, and they won't have to use a correspondent bank or anything like that to do those transfers. So this is also a technology that companies can use to build an internal treasury. So this is going to be very, very exciting, and I'm going to look further into this because this is a piece of software, Ripple, but it's very, very exciting software. And actual the value of Ripple, the actual has gone up as well. You can also create alternative coins with Ripple if you'd like, and you can create your own internal currency if you have the Ripple client, because you can create accounts and you can create your own currency that people can transfer between your accounts. So that's very interesting.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago we spoke about Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Classic, which is really the well. Let me read this heading. 5 Bitcoin ATM companies switch to running Bitcoin Classic. Now, there's been a bit of an issue around this because it's really about the block size in the blockchain. And Coinbase was one of the first adopters, And now I see there's 29 Bitcoin ATMs across North America that have actually switched to it. So it's really just changing the block size from a 1 megabyte to a 2 megabyte. But there are differences of opinion here amongst all the Bitcoin developers. So and Bitcoin is actually a democracy. So these guys are kind of voting on this, and if they are adopting it, it means their vote is possible. It is positive.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. It's all about the speed of transactions. I think for Bitcoin to really take it up adoption, and one of the reasons why the ATMs are looking at it, you don't want to go and withdraw your Bitcoins at an ATM and then wait 10 minutes before your money go. If you don't do an ATM withdrawal, wait 10 minutes before you get your money out. You want it immediately. So, they are trying to speed up the whole clearing process of Bitcoin, and that is what it's about. There's also another tendency that's happening here, Tracy, and that's where you have companies that are holders of Bitcoin. We're going to see more of that actually come in as third party um, uh, transaction underwriters, which means they have bitcoins, and they will then make the transactions immediate and give them some of their bitcoin and wait for the transactions to clear, and they will charge a fee for that, which will mean buying in a retail store and going to the ATM and stuff like that will be immediate. There will be a very small fee attached to that, and that's also going to create an investment potential for people holding bitcoins, and we're keeping a very good eye on that to look at to see if that's something viable in future.
Yes. It's actually quite amazing that there's always an opportunity to make money. So where you see or you think that it's going to take, well, obviously, this whole system is taking cost out of the system, but there are always ways and means to make a couple of bob here and there. And
Well, if I just can correct your language there, Tracy, as you know, money is the root of all. What we're saying from now on in the new economy, there's always a way to earn some more bitcoins, which is the root of all good.
no, okay, so that's the old.
The old lingo. The old lingo. Remember, the Bible told us the money is the root. Money is the root of all evil. So we all need to change to Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. That's a
So there's
very good.
definitely, I'm going to invoke religion here to get the price up. This is called a hold and pray investment strategy.
Okay, Australian Reserve Bank sees a digital dollar future. Now, this is, yeah, Australia. Who knows what they're going to be doing next? But they're saying that they see an opportunity for digital dollars to circulate and coexist alongside banknotes and other forms of Australia's national currency, including coins.
Well,
So,
they're talking along the same lines as the Bank of Japan. And what will happen here? This is very, very exciting for the Bitcoin price, because what they are talking about here is actually going out and purchasing Bitcoins, and then and then issuing currency that are underwritten by that Bitcoin. In other words, they can only issue as much currency as they hold Bitcoin. It almost goes back to the old gold standard, but it's the Bitcoin standard. And there
yes.
will be if that happens, that those currencies will sell at a premium actually, and
Mm,
people will use very, very interested in holding them, because that would be an Australian dollar with zero inflation, because it's linked that you can't print more than the amount of bitcoins that you actually hold. So
mm.
that is, people would be able to come exchange those dollars for physical bitcoins. So that would be very interesting.
Now, this is the media chain is using blockchain to create a global rights database. Now, this is similar to a story that we ran a couple of weeks ago about the music industry, because the music industry has been struggling with so many people and downloading their music illegally. They've lost money, so it's been a bit hectic for them. But this is also about writers, photographers, and being able to prove and protect their ownership of works and ideas. And, there's been a lot of issues along those lines as well. So, people just take whatever they see.
You see what this creates is almost like a digital DNA. So if I create something and I'm the first person who puts it on the blockchain, then it's my DNA and nobody can copy it because it's unique, because I'm the first person on. And it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm the inventor of that right and that I hold that right. The only problem that I foresee with that is it's not really a problem, but it's going to take time for adoption because you have to have court systems and legal systems in place, just as you had with the acceptance of DNA, where it took time before DNA evidence was accepted in court. This will be the same thing. It will take time before blockchain evidence are actually accepted in court, and it will have to be enacted in national parliaments and in world courts to get it accepted. But
Mm.
once that happens, it creates undeniable proof. It wouldn't really, there's a lot of people that think, no, it's going to stop piracy. It's not really a way to stop piracy because even though you have proof that you own the stuff, it doesn't really, you still have to enforce your rights. And enforcement, unfortunately, cannot be done by the blockchain. But that for that, you need the police. Um, or you need a court order and then the state to enforce it. But
Yeah.
it is very helpful in proving who owns that intellectual property, and it's also going to be a boom for something else that we haven't actually talked about. Um, is the intellectual property insurance market, because
Mhm.
one of the problems there is actually, who actually owns proof of that, and that will stimulate that market as well. So you would be able to actually go and insure intellectual property against loss, which would be very nice. So there's a lot of interesting developments that's coming on the blockchain.
I know it's so exciting.
Absolutely.
Now, remember we had this discussion as well about this guy who he was actually paid 3,000 bitcoins, and what happened is, in fact, it says here it was alleged to have been fraudulently transferred to this guy prior to the firm's collapse. So this is a bankruptcy case that's been filed. So California bankruptcy judge says Bitcoin is property and not currency. Now that's quite an interesting thing because it means that this guy is now going to have to pay back the 3,000 Bitcoin, which is roughly about $1.3 million, versus if he paid if the Bitcoin was held at the value at the date that he received them, which was about $360,000. So yeah, so he's going to have to hand those back.
That's a very interesting thing, because the first thing is that means, like you say, you've got to hand back the value. But there's a further thing here, and this might be something that is a bit of a problem, and it is going to take. That's why it's going to take legislation from the California legislature, and I would assume later on from the federal legislature, from the Congress, the U.S. Congress actually, making it federal law about what Bitcoin is, because the fact is, if it's a property like the California court says, then you can say that the guy was actually, this is the problem. He actually transacted in stolen goods. This means that if you transact in Bitcoin, in California now, and the counterparty or somebody can prove that you actually sold their bitcoins that it was stolen from them, you would be liable to give those bitcoins back, because it's illegal to trade in stolen property, and also people that lost their property could claim it back, which means you could be a harmless uh, bystander and lose a lot of money if your bitcoins and they were actually stolen from somebody, even if you didn't know it, because you were trading stolen goods. So that can be a bit of a problem. So we're going to need a lot of clarification how that's going to be handled. And I
Yeah,
think there's going to be a few court cases in that regard.
yeah, it's definitely not finished. And I'm quite sure that this guy's actually spent some of his 3,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
All right, so we're done for tonight, and this is our quote of the day or of the week. Virgin Galactic is a bold entrepreneurial technology. It's driving a revolution, and Bitcoin is doing the same when it comes to inventing a new currency. By my favorite, absolute favorite, Sir Richard Branson.
Well, for me as a Bitcoin holder, I just read between the lines, and what I hear Richard Branson saying is buy Bitcoins because the price is going to skyrocket, literally, literally. So that's what I think.
I think you've read, I think that's right. I think that's totally right. You've definitely understood this correctly.
All right, Tracy, thank you very much. I think you're enjoying it in Dubai. I just heard through from a little bird told me that you are drinking some French white wine tonight. So I hope you're enjoying it.
I have to tell
And
you, I have to just tell you, this is, I've just looked at the bottle and it's 145 dirham.
so what is that in dollars?
I think it's, well, it's quite hectic. It's about, I think a dirham is about 4 dirham to the dollar.
Okay, so that's about $30.
Hmm. Maybe a bit more.
So that's 1/12 of a Bitcoin.
Yeah. So in
Okay.
fact, drinking this wine, I should be saving my Bitcoin.
Just drink it slowly.
Yes, I am.
Because you've got to remember one thing. What's
Mm,
1/12 of a Bitcoin today might be 12 Bitcoins very, very shortly.
no, I know it's incredible, absolutely incredible. Okay, well, Peter, let's reach for the moon. We'll get on to Sir Richard's rocket, and I know that Bitcoin is there. Hey, is there with us, and I know that it's going to be incredible. This is a fantastic journey, so I love it, and I'm just hoping that people listen to this all this news and get as excited as we are about Bitcoin, because
Yes,
honestly,
absolutely. I mean, but to follow the Bitcoin news now every week is absolutely fascinating. And I'm looking forward to the news next week to see and to see what this week brings. So let's talk again next week, Tracy. Thank you very, very much. And have a great weekend.
thanks to you too, Peter.